Thank you very much. Welcome again to this place. And we want to continue the story of Jacob. This time we want to conclude the story of Jacob. And then it can be from like chapter 29 to chapter 35. So it's full of the contents is a lot. So it means there can be a lot of reading. A lot of reading. So I hope you can follow well. If possible, if each person can read so fastly, it can be good. But then I think it cannot be good because it can be different. Each person can be different. Then maybe maybe sometimes people cannot hear well and those. Maybe it can be better to be continuous with the same pattern. That's why I can continue to read. But I hope you can follow me well. So until this time, then usually you are just looking at stories, short stories. For example, Jacob met God in Bethel. It's just like one night story. One night and the next morning. Jacob received the blessing of God through his father, Isaac. That is just like 2 hour story. But this time, we can look at the stories when Jacob was in Padanara at his uncle's place for 20 years. For 20 years. So at this time, you want to see this story for 20 years. So it can be somehow long. But then, as you follow well, then I hope we can understand Jacob's life more deeply. I'm not sure whether you can check whether the video is taken continually. Is it? Don't touch. You can see it's continuing. You can find that the time is passing. So I hope you can find it well. Actually, whenever I did the lectures a few times, especially with the story of Jacob, and as this has a lot of content, I need to read a lot of verses in the Bible. Usually, that's not easy. I think Joseph's story can be similar. But then, Joseph's story is not so long like Jacob. So anyway, but then, now I'm feeling that Jacob's story is very heart-touching, very impressive story. His life, as you look at Jacob's life, where then you can find Jacob's life was not easy life. Was not easy life. But then he could win over everything with faith in God. He could persevere well. He persevered well. And then, but he didn't really committing sins. And then he won over with faith in many aspects. For example, that was Jacob's life. And then lastly, he could be also reconciled. He could also reconcile with his brother. That was also great. Usually, brothers, sisters, we are fighting. Cain and Abel, they were fighting. Even they killed. Even the brothers, the sons of Jacob, they were also fighting. The other 11, the other 10 brothers, they really hated Joseph. But then Joseph was great. He did not really try to avenge, revenge against their ugly brothers. Here, anyway, Jacob, and Jacob's life was very great. That's how I could also realize. So instead of just looking at some part of a person's life, but then it can be better to read, to look at his life well. So then we can also understand why he could be the ancestor of faith. And then we can also learn from this person's life with our faith, in the aspect of the faith of our life. So until now then, we could see that Jacob was running away from his hometown, Beersheba. And then he was going to his uncle's place, Laban's place, Padan Haran. Then now the story is starting from his arrival at Padan Aram. And then he was staying there. He was working there for 20 years. And then he was going back. He went back to his hometown. And then he met his brother again. And then he could be reconciled. Amazing. That story can be the stories now we want to see. So we will read. So we cannot just read all. We will read the important parts. We will read the important parts. So then you can, as we read together, then we really want to understand Jacob's life and Jacob's faith. We want to see Genesis chapter 29 from verse 14 to 19. Genesis chapter 29 from verse 14 to 19. I will read. Then Laban says to him, "You are my own flesh and blood." After Jacob had stayed with him for a whole month, Laban says to him, "Just because you are a relative of mine, should you work for me for nothing? Tell me what your wages should be." Now Laban had two daughters. The name of the older was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah had weak eyes, but Rachel had a lovely figure and was beautiful. Jacob was in love with Rachel and said, "I will work for you 7 years in return for your younger daughter, Rachel." Laban said, "It's better that I give her to you than to some other man. Stay here with me." Here, they met. He arrived where Jacob arrived where at Laban's place, and he was working for 1 month. And then Laban is suggesting his nephew, "Then I will give you the wage." So here, what can you find? Jacob was a very diligent person. He was not just lazy and just wasting the food of his uncle's place. If he was just a lazy person, then if he was not a good person, then would Laban accept him? Then Laban could just send him away, chase him away. "You need to go back to your father's place." But then as Laban realized that Jacob is very good, very profitable person. Yeah? He's very profitable. So that's why Laban said then, suggest that if I can give you the salary, please name the wage. So Laban accepted him. Jacob learned how, but then here we can find that Jacob was very diligent person. But then we also expected that Jacob learned how to serve at the kitchen of his mother. So Jacob asked for Rachel as work for her 7 years. Yeah, actually Jacob was the person of serving. Yeah. As he was serving with his mother at the kitchen. Jacob, he knew how to serve. He knew how to work. He knew how to take care of the household. Yeah, Jacob was the one who was taking care of the household, not Esau. Esau was always outside, playing outside people, not in the church, for example, not in the church. So then Jacob was the one who was taking care of the church. If we compare it to the church story, Jacob was the one who was taking care of the church. Sometimes he was working in the church kitchen. But then anyway, Jacob was doing well with faith. So verse 20 says, so Jacob served 7 years to get Rachel, but they seemed like only a few days to him because of his love for her. Yeah, Jacob was serving with love, with joy of love. And chapter 29 from verse 21 to 30, chapter 29 from verse 21 to 30, I read. Then Jacob said to Laban, give me my wife. My time is completed. Maybe 7 years passed. 7 years passed. And I want to make love to her. Verse 22. So Laban brought together all the people of the place and gave a feast. But when evening came, he took this daughter Leah and brought her to Jacob, and Jacob made love to her, and Laban gave his servant Zilpah to his daughter as her attendant. So here something wrong was happening. The Laban, his father-in-law, he gave another daughter. But here we need to understand, maybe even I don't know how the Israel was, the custom of marriage there. But then he said that until the morning, the next morning, they could not see the bridegroom. He could not see the face of the bride. The bride was covering her face completely. That's how it was happening. So verse 25. When morning came, there was Leah. So Jacob says to Laban, what is this you have done to me? I served you for Rachel, didn't I? Why have you deceived me? And actually here, it's like he started to deceive by Laban. Why was he deceived by his uncle Laban? I was thinking about it. Maybe as he also deceived his brother, so then as he could be also deceived his uncle, then that's how he could realize that how he did so wrongly against his brother. Maybe. That's how maybe he could also understand his brother's that bitterness and anger. Anyway, Laban was really deceiving his nephew. Why have you deceived me? In verse 26, Laban replied, it's not our custom here to give the younger daughter in marriage before the older one. Finish this daughter's brother with, then we will give you her younger one also, in return for another 7 years of work. Verse 28, and Jacob did so, he finished the week with Leah, and then Laban gave him his daughter Rachel to be with his wife, to be his wife. Verse 29, Laban gave his servant Bilhah to his daughter Rachel as her attendant. Jacob made love to Rachel also, and his love for Rachel was greater than his love for Leah. And he worked for Laban another 7 years. So, that's how Jacob was working for Leah and Rachel 7 years plus 7 years. That's how Jacob was working for those two daughters of Laban for 14 years. So Jacob married with Leah and Rachel. And then the next story is like that. They had many children. So we cannot read everything. They had many children. 11, 10, 10 through Leah and Leah's maid servant and Rachel's maid servant, Bilhah and Zilpah, Bilhah, Leah. But then God did not give Joseph a son. So that's another issue with Rachel. Chapter 30, verse 25 to 28. Chapter 30. Chapter 30, verse 25 to 30, 25 to 28. I mean, after Rachel gave birth to Joseph, now Rachel gave birth to a son to Jacob, Joseph. Jacob says to Laban, send me on my way so I can go back to my own homeland. Maybe the 14 years passed now. 14 years passed. So Jacob, he wanted to go back to his hometown. So verse 26. Give me my wives and children for whom I have served you, and I will be on my way. You know how much work I've done for you. Verse 27. But Laban says to him, if I have found favor in your eyes, please stay. I have learned by divination that the Lord has blessed me because of you. Yeah, that is great. Even through he was asking his God. Then, maybe he became so rich. But then he realized that, he became rich through Jacob. Jacob's genuine, diligent love. So, Laban, he did not want to let Jacob go. Laban. He was very economic. He had that economic brain. So verse 28, he added, name your wages and I will pay them. So here Laban said that until now, without the salary, Jacob was working. Without the salary. Only for Leah and Rachel. So 7 years. So Jacob had nothing until now. Jacob had that for 14 years. But now, Laban is like tempting Jacob. You set the wage, you set the salary, I will give you, I will pay you. So Jacob worked for 14 years. Laban realized that he was blessed materially through Jacob. So Jacob, he was not that strange guy, just going around and trying to do something strange things on the road. Jacob was very genuine, diligent person. So Laban, he realized, Jacob, I need to keep this Jacob. Even for my family. He didn't want to let him go. We need to know that even the world, if we are the workers in the world, and the good workers in the world, then even the world would not let you go. The world would try to hold on. The world would try to give you more temptation. Don't go. Don't leave us. We will pay you more. We will pay you more. But so here we can read chapter 30 from verse 35 to 43. Chapter 30 from verse 35 to 43. It says that same day he removed all the male goats that were here. Before then, Jacob is suggesting Laban something strange. That we don't need to set the wage, but you just need to give me the strict ones, speckled ones among the goats and rams. They can be my wage. The strict ones and speckled ones, the spotted ones, those. But then I'm not sure about those, the tendering sheep and goats. Is it really usually the sheep and goats, the white ones are many? Huh? Is it the normal, white ones are normal? The strict ones, spotted ones are very rare, very few? I'm not sure. It looked like very few. That's why maybe Laban agreed with it. Yes, the strict ones, speckled ones, and spotted ones can be yours, but the white ones can be mine. So Laban agreed. Yes, it can be a good deal. Laban, he agreed with it. So they separated, verse 35. That same day, he moved all the middle male goats that was streaked or spotted, and all the speckled or spotted female goats, all that had white on them, and all the dark-colored lambs and beef. He placed them in the care of his sons. 35 and 36. Then he took a 3-day journey between himself and Jacob, while Jacob continued to tend the rest of Laban's flocks. Jacob, however, took fresh-cut branches from poplar, almond, and plane trees and made white stripes on them by peeling the bark and exposing the white inner wood of the branches. Then he placed the peeled branches in all the watering troughs, so that they would be directly in front of the flocks when they came to drink. When the flocks were in heat and came to drink, they made it in front of the branches, and they bore young that were streaked or speckled or spotted. Jacob set apart the young of the flock by themselves, but made the rest face the streaked and dark-colored animals that belonged to Laban. Thus he made separate flocks from himself and did not put them in with Laban's animals. Whenever the stronger females were in heat, Jacob would place the branches in the troughs in front of the animals so they would mate near the branches. But if the animals were weak, he would not place them there. So the weak animals went to Laban and the strong ones to Jacob. That's how Jacob was really working so hard. Yeah, very what is it? Shrewd. Shrewd man is. Verse 43. In this way, the man grew exceedingly prosperous and came to own large flocks and female and male servants and camels and donkeys. That's how he became so rich. That's how Jacob became rich. He stayed in the foreign land for 20 years like this. For 14 years, 7 years, he was working for his wife. And for the other 6 years, he was working for this material blessing. And then chapter 31, verse 1 and 2. chapter 31, verse 1 and 2. Jacob heard that Laban's sons were saying, Jacob has taken everything our father owned and has gained all this wealth from what belonged to our father. And Jacob noticed that Laban's attitude toward him was not what it had been. So here, Jacob realized that, Laban got angry. And then he did not really understand correctly. Usually people, when they get angry, then they misunderstand, right? And they hate also. Misunderstand and hate. He took my property. He took my property. So Laban got so angry. In verse 3, chapter 31, verse 3, then the Lord says to Jacob, go back to the land of your fathers and to your relatives, and I will be with you. Now the time came for Jacob to go back to his hometown. God called him. God said, you need to go back now. In verse 4 to 13, chapter 31, verse 4 to 13, he said, so Jacob sent word to Rachel and Leah to come out to the fields where his flocks were. He said to them, I see that your father's attitude toward me is not what it was before, but the God of my father has been with me. You know. So now he's explaining to his wives one by one. You know, right? Your father, how your father did. But then God was with me. How about me? Verse 6. You know that I worked for your father with all my strength. You know, right? Yeah. It's like he was trying to receive the agreement from his wife. But then his wife, he agreed with him. They agreed with him. It means this Jacob's word was true. It is not fake. It is not hypocritical. Because the wife, they know their husband, right? For example, my wife knows me. They know my life. They know whether I am hypocritical or not. They know everything. But these two wives, they were agreeing with Jacob. It means they were true. For example, but then, even though there is a great bishop, but then if the wife or if his wife or his children, if they don't really like this bishop, then something wrong. It shows that something wrong with this bishop's private life. Something wrong. Even though other people don't know it, but they know. They know it. But Jacob and his wives, they were agreed. They agreed with their husband. You know, verse 6, you know that I worked for your father with all my strength. Yet your father has cheated me by changing my wages 10 times. It was not just 2 times. Maybe, even though everything is not recorded in the Bible, 10 times they can change what the wage. 10 times. But however, you can here find Jacob's faith in God. God has not allowed him to harm me. Verse 8. If he said, the speckled ones will be your wages, then all the flocks gave birth to speckled young. And if he said, the strict ones will be your wages, then all the flocks bore strict young. So God has taken away your father's livestock and has given them to you. Yeah. Jacob, he believed in God. That God is the one who was protecting him, who was providing for me. Even though he was really working so hard, using the branches, but then he could know that he knew it. God is the one who did this for him and for his life, for his family. Verse 10. In verse 10, in breeding season, I once had a dream. Yeah, actually, God showed through the dream to Jacob. In breeding season, I once had a dream in which I looked up and saw that the male goats mating with the flock were streaked, speckled, and spotted. The angel of God said to me in the dream, Jacob, I answered, here I am. And he said, look up and see that all the male goats mating with the flock are streaked, speckled, or spotted. For this is like God's protection. Helping Jacob was journeying, was walking journey. For I have seen all that Laban has been doing to you. I knew it, I know it. God was advocating for Jacob. I know how Laban, your uncle, did very wrongly. So I want to provide for you. Don't worry, Jacob. I saw how your uncle did. Verse 13. I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed a pillar and where you made a vow to me. Now leave this land at once and go back to your native land. So now God is reminding Jacob, you need to go back to your hometown. And then you need to go back to Bethel. As you bow down to me, as you swore before me, you need to also fulfill your swear before me. So God is reminding you. So the same for our life of faith, we also need to remind ourselves how we determined before God, how we started our life of faith. And then we need to go back to this God. We need to go back to this God. So and Jacob asked to this his wife, verse 14 and 16, chapter 31, verse 14 and 16. Then Rachel and Leah replied, do we still have any share in the inheritance of our father's estate? Does he not regard us as foreigners? Even the Laban's daughters, Leah and Rachel, they knew how their father was. Our father really took everything from us. Not only has he sold us, but he has used what was paid for us. Yeah. Our father, he used our husband, our family. Even he took all our money. The money which was supposed to pay to us, but he took our money. So verse 16, the wives of Jacob, they said, surely all the wealth that God took away from our father belongs to us and our children. Yeah. They also believe that God gave us the money to the real owner. Real owner. And then, lastly, they said, so do whatever God has told you. This is amazing one. They really agreed with their husband. Then they said that whatever you do according to God's guidance, we will follow it. And this was great. That's how Jacob's life was changed. Then Jacob also lived very genuinely and truthfully, diligently. That's why even his wife, they believed in their husbands. Even though they were somehow fighting, but they believed in their husband. They agreed with their husband. Then they were ready to follow their husband, leaving their physical father. Instead of following our father, but we will follow him. Whatever God told you, you do. We will follow him. That's great. So his wife completely supports Jacob. This shows the genuineness of Jacob's life. So chapter 31, verse 17 to 18. 17 to 18. Then Jacob put his children and his wives on camels, and he drove all his livestock ahead of him, along with all the goods he had accumulated in Patanara, to go to his father Isaac in the land of Canaan. Yeah, they started the journey now. Verse 19, but here's something strange. When Laban had gone to share his sheep, Rachel stole her father's household goods. Rachel stole her father's household gods, the idol. So we are not sure why she did it. But later, as we continue to read the Bible, then we can find that moment that they buried all the idols from this land. They buried all the idols under a tree. I don't remember. Under a tree. And then they started a new life from there. Only worshiping God from there. Maybe Rachel, she wanted to start the new life. Only by worshiping God, the God of Isaac, the God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Jehovah. Maybe she didn't want to continue to worship his father's God. That's why she did. And then verse 20 and 21, it said that moreover Jacob deceived Laban the Aramean by not telling him he was running away. So he fled with all he had across the Euphrates River and headed for the hill country of Gilead. So here we can find that Jacob did not tell Laban before he left. Deceiving. Was it deceiving or not? We can say that's kind of deceiving. Why then? As God told Jacob to leave, he left. But if he told Laban, would Laban let him go? Yeah, Laban last time he said, please set the wage, I will pay you. Huh? I will pay more. Would Laban let him go? Jacob was very profitable, very genuine. He is the one who would bring the blessing of God to this family. Laban, he would never let him go. He would never. But then the God's message told Jacob was that you need to leave. You need to go to Bethel. Or you need to go back to your father's house. That was the God's message. But then Laban is not the one, the easy person who Jacob can convince. Usually Jacob was used by this uncle. Jacob was deceived 10 times. Jacob was deceived by his uncle 10 times. Even this time. Would Laban let him go easily? Maybe Laban would deceive him again. Maybe I will let you go home in 1 month. Maybe Laban would say like this. But then after 1 month, Laban can change his word again. No. Not yet. I don't think the time came. You need to stay 1 more month. Well, after another month, then I will give you the freedom. You can go home. But then after another month, would you Laban let him really go? I don't think so. That's why maybe Jacob decided to leave this place, not telling his Laban, his uncle. So verse 22. On the third day, they left. On the third day, Laban was told that Jacob had fled. So this is third day. The 3 days are coming. For 3 days, Jacob should go with faith. After that, God will take care of everything. So in the Bible, 3 days, many times 3 days are coming up. Even yesterday, when Abraham was going to offer his son Isaac, then Abraham was going towards that Mount of Moriah, right? The Mount of Moriah, for 3 days. For 3 days, there was no message of God. There was no encouragement from God. He has to go toward the Mount Moriah for 3 days. With what? With faith. For 3 days. So he has to go this walk of faith for 3 days with faith. So when he showed his faith for 3 days, then that's how God started to intervene. So here, as they left this place, following the God's guidance, then God started to intervene. For 3 days, we need to show our faith. For 3 days. And then, if we go there with 3 days, with faith, showing our faith, then God will take care of us from there. So here, God showed himself to Laban's dream, at Laban's dream. Laban, when you meet Jacob, you don't say anything. You cannot argue with him. Did you do well? Laban, did you do well? Can you really argue with Jacob? Who was better? Yeah, Jacob was also did wrong. He did not really tell you. It was not good attitude. But then, were you good? Then, were you good? So, Laban, you don't have anything to say against your nephew. So God was protecting Jacob against this Laban. Verse 36 to 42. Verse 36 to 42. So here they met. The Laban, he really was chasing this, running after this, Jacob's family. Then they met lastly, finally. So verse 36, it says Jacob was angry and took here, and then here, even the Laban was trying to find his God. His God, but then he could not find his God. But here Rachel was hiding his father's God under her. So he could not find it. So then, Jacob is making anger against his uncle. Verse 36. Jacob was angry and took Laban to task. What is my crime? Did I really do crime against you? Did I really do wrong against you? He asked Laban, how have I wronged you that you hunt me down? Verse 37. Now that you have searched through all my goods, what have you found that belongs to you, your household? Put it here in front of your relatives and mine, and let them judge between the two of us. So you could not find anything, right? But then here, Jacob did not know that then Rachel stole. Anyway, now Jacob is starting to say his word. Verse 38. I have been with you for 20 years now. Your sheep and goats have not miscarried, nor have I eaten rams from your flocks. I did not bring you animals torn by wild beasts. I bore the loss myself. Jacob was really trying to take care of his uncle's property. He was always compensating for all the loss, Jacob himself. and you demanded payment from me for whatever was stolen by day or night. Verse 14, this was my situation. The heat consumed me in the daytime and the cold at night, and the sleep fled from my eyes. Yeah, even he could not sleep well for many nights. He could not sleep well. That's how he was really working so hard. That's how Laban could be rich. Verse 41. It was like this. For the 20 years I was in your household, I worked for you 14 years for your 2 daughters and 6 years for your flocks, and you changed my wages 10 times. Verse 42. If the God of my father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, had not been with me, you would surely have sent me away empty-handed. And Jacob, the Laban could send Jacob away with empty-handed. And that was the characteristics, or that was the will of Laban. But then as God protected Jacob, provided for Jacob, that's why Jacob could be rich now. But God has seen my hardship and the toil of my hands, and last night He rebuked you. God rebuked you. That's why God rebuked you. Laban, uncle, please understand this. Don't you agree with my words? Then Laban, he could not say anything. It was all true. Jacob the same was all true. He was deceiving many times. He was taking the money of this Jacob's family money. So Jacob's 14 story was like this. The blessing of Jacob was not gained without effort. Yeah, Jacob he was really working so hard, even without sleeping. Jacob overcame this tearful process with unchanging perseverance and gained victory. So finally, he could gain the great victory. So Satan deceived 10 times. Actually, Laban was like Satan. Satan is they are changing their words, deceiving. They are starting from deceiving, bring the confusion. The same when we look at read the book of Exodus. King Pharaoh was deceiving, changing the words many times, 10 times. I will send you Israelites. But then the next day, he changed the word. You cannot go out from Egypt. You are my people. You need to be controlled by me. You cannot worship your God. You should worship me. At the time, the king of Egypt was the God. Even nowadays, some countries, they have God there, the dictator. Very strange actually. In this 21st century, even they have the God, the dictatorship is there. Very strange. So anyway, the Satans they are deceiving. Laban was like Satan. King Pharaoh was like Satan. They are deceiving, changing the world. So when we evangelize, the same people can say, we will go, but usually they don't come. At that time, we should not give up in the middle. The world can deceive us many times, 10 times, or 20 times. But our determination, we should not change our determination. We should not lose our love, our passion before God. Chapter 31, verse 55. Verse 55, it says that early the next morning, Laban kissed his grandchildren and his daughters and blessed them, and he left and returned home. Now, finally, the Laban really blessed Jacob and Jacob's family. So Jacob received the blessing from Laban, even Satan. It means Jacob was proved that Jacob is genuine, truthful. Jacob was truthful. So I want to bless him. Even Rachel was blessing Jacob. This is amazing. I mean, this is victory. Yeah. He was proved. He was proved. Even he could receive the blessing from the world. So Jacob was a victor. Not the victor of this fighting, the physical fighting, the victor of faith, the victor of life, the true life. Yeah. Jacob was the victor of true life. Chapter 32, verse 6 to 7. Chapter 32, verse 6 and 7. When the messengers returned to Jacob, they said, We went to your brother Esau, and now he is coming to meet you, and 400 men are with him. Now they were about to meet Jacob's brother Esau. Then Jacob sent the messenger to his brother Esau. Your younger brother is behind us. Your younger brother would meet you. So then, but listening to this messenger's message by Jacob, then what did Esau do? Esau was welcome. It's like Esau was coming to Jacob's side. With what? With whom? 400 men. What kind of welcome is this? Esau was not welcome coming to Jacob's side with his family, wife, children, but 400 men. 400 men. So in great fear, that's why I said, verse 7, in great fear and distress, Jacob divided his people. Yeah. Because of great fear. It means his brother still hates me. My brother still hates me. So his brother's heart didn't change. So he got so afraid. But Jacob wanted to restore this broken relationship and reconcile. Jacob wanted to be reconciled. Jacob wanted to restore this broken relationship. So verse 13 to 20. Verse 13 to 20, the same chapter. He said that from verse 13, chapter 32, he spent the night there, and from what he had with him, he selected a gift for his brother Esau, 200 female goats and 20 male goats. You look at this well. Was it small? 200 female goats, 20 male goats, 200 oats, and 20 rams, 30 female camels, with their young, 40 cows, 40 cows and 10 bulls, and 20 female donkeys and 10 male donkeys. He put them in the care of his servants, each out by itself, and said to his servants, Go ahead of me and keep some space between the herds. He instructed the one in the lead, when my brother Esau meets you and asks, Who do you belong to, and where are you going, and who owns all these animals in front of you, then you are to say, They belong to your servant Jacob. They are a gift sent to my Lord Esau. Yeah, he called his brother Lord Esau. He was not the fellow believers of God, a worldly person, but he was calling his brother Esau, Lord Esau. And he's coming behind us. Verse 19. He also instructed the second and the third and all the other who followed the herd. You are to say the same thing to Esau when you meet him. And be sure to say, Your servant Jacob is coming behind us. For he thought, I will pass by him with these gifts I am sending on ahead. Later, when I see him, perhaps he will receive me. and he wanted to be reconciled with all his goods. So he sent gifts for his brother Esau. Jacob could look at and understand brother's heart. So Jacob did not view what he gained as his own, but he felt that he obtained what his brother should have received. Do you understand? Yeah, Jacob was giving all, maybe not all, except for something for his family. So he gave almost many of his goods to his brother. How? Maybe he thought that all this, maybe this is the blessing of God. Maybe this blessing, maybe my brother could have received these blessings. But then I received these blessings instead of him. That's why even I want to give all, I can also give all these to my brother. And also, my life, these properties, it should not be the purpose, the main things for my life. So with this thought that he gave many of his properties to his brother. So that he was trying to restore this broken relationship. He was trying to serve his brother. The older will serve the younger. This word was realized, fulfilled by this Jacob. The older will serve the younger. The same, when we are living together, even though I look to be older or like superior, but if I'm trying to serve, then people can be impressed by that serving heart, humble heart, loving heart. Then we will gain, we will restore. That's how Jacob was. He was not money-centered person. He was not the money-centered person. Chapter 32, verse 4. Chapter 32, verse 4. He instructed them, "This is what you are to say to my Lord Esau. Your servant Jacob." And even he said, "Your servant." I am the servant. Paul was saying like that. I am the servant of Christ Jesus. Actually, this is also a great word. I am servant. Another word, I am not slave. I am a slave. I am your servant Jacob. I have been staying with Laban and have remained there till now. And then he said that he called Esau his Lord. To my Lord Esau, your servant Jacob says. So here, Jacob is calling Esau my Lord, and he called himself the servant of the Lord. So Jacob was humble. And we need to make money the same. As we are also living with money or making money, then and we need to also find Esau or kind. Then we can also recover Esau or kind with our these material things. That's how we can really use our money well, meaningfully for the kingdom of God. Yeah, we need to use to survive, even to take care of even our family. But then the main purpose, the main direction for our life of faith, it should be like this. So then they will see the Lord. They will see the Lord. Then they will find the love of God. They will see the love of God. Chapter 32, verse 20 to 30, verse 22 to 30. Here, important moment is recorded here. Chapter 32 from verse 22. The night Jacob got up and took his two wives, his two female servants, and his 11 sons, and crossed the ford of the Jacob. After he had sent them across the stream, he sent over all his possessions, so Jacob was left alone. So now, at night, then he sent all his family, his wives, maid servants, all his 11 sons, then even he sent all his possessions. Then he was remaining alone at this side of the river. After he had sent them across the stream, he sent over all his possessions. Then verse 24. So Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him till daybreak. Yeah, Jacob was wrestling with a man. Who was he? You don't know. Who was he? When the man saw that he could not overpower Jacob, he touched the socket of Jacob's hip, so that his hip was wrenched as he wrestled with the man. Verse 26. Then the man said, "Let me go, for it is daybreak." Why? I'm not sure why he wanted to go. Daybreak. Ghost? He looked at ghost. And when you look at the movies, usually the ghosts they are afraid of the sun. They can die. So then they are trying to go back. Maybe I think so. This is the ghost. This is daybreak. But Jacob replied, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." He really was trying to receive the blessing from whoever. I'm not sure whether Jacob realized this is the angel of God. Anyway, Jacob wanted to be blessed. It means he wanted to be proved, and then he really wanted to receive the true blessing. Verse 27, the man asked him, "What is your name?" Jacob, he answered. Then the man said, "Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel." And your name will be Israel from today. Why? Because you have struggled with God and with man, and you have overcome. And you have struggled with man also. Even though your uncle was really doing that badly, but you won over him with genuine life. So that even your uncle was like testifying for you, blessed you. Even as you are fighting with God, you also won over. Won over. So you are the winner, victor, winner. You are the winner. So Jacob was a winner. Verse 28 and verse 29, Jacob said, "Please tell me your name." But he replied, "Why do you ask my name?" Then he blessed him there. Verse 38, Jacob called the place Peniel, saying, "It is because I saw God face to face, and yet my life was spared." And the face of God, Peniel, the face of God. I met God, but I did not die. Long time ago here, and God has fearful God. God has fearful. When people look at God or the angel of God, people can die. But nowadays it's different, right? This is the time of the grace figure. We can even read God, listen to God. Any person can, whoever wants to listen, they can listen. This is the great grace of God. God really opened the great door for our salvation. Whoever wants to meet God, whoever wants to be saved, they can come to me, they can listen to me. It's not difficult to be saved. The word of God is not there far, and the word of God is not there in the deep water. The word of God is within, near you. So you only need to believe in God. You only need to come before Him, and you need to listen. Then you will receive the salvation from God. But long time ago, that's why long time ago, in the time of Old Testament, people said that God said that even at the mount of the mount of that receiving where they received the 10 commandments from tablets, people were not supposed to go up to the mountain. When people, or even the animals, when they climb up the mountain, then they can die. That's how God is fearful. So God said, "Don't touch this ark, the ark of salvation, the ark of the word of God." But then when a person touched it, then he died. I saw like a person put the message in the Facebook. I cannot understand why this person died as he touched this apple. Yeah, common. And there was this kind of God's clear instruction. Don't touch it. God is fearful. We need to know God is fearful. The same, still God is fearful. We need to live with this fear toward God, not scary. We need to know that how fearful it is. When God judges, how fearful it is. But then, through Jesus Christ, the great love of God could be revealed. Actually, we are supposed to die with our sins by the fearful word of God. But then, as God loves us, as God opened the great door for our salvation, as we just believe in this love of God through the sacrifice of Jesus Christ, we can be saved. We can be the children of God. Then we can be have the intimate, close, that close relationship with God. We can recover this close relationship with God. But other religion, they still believe that God is so fearful. God is so up there, God is very far. That's how they say. But then the God in Christianity, we are different. God can accept us as His child. We can live with love, with intimacy with God. This is by the grace of God, through the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. So, Jacob wrestled with the angel, then the wrestle of Jacob River. So here, he received the new name, Israel. So he could be regarded as a winner. He could be approved as a winner in this world. With his faith. So why does God give the test? I want to ask you. We can ask ourselves. Why did God test Jacob? So this is the love of God. There are times we feel that God is blocking us. So while we walk on the path of faith, then sometimes God told Jacob, "You go back to your father's house. You go back to Bethel." But then now the angel of God is blocking him. Why? He's blocking him. Or when I was thinking this again and again, then maybe Jacob was really wondering himself, can I go or not? Can I go or not? Or the real person came and fights against him, trying to block him. You need to win over me, then you can go. So anyway, God was testing him. Then why was God blocking him? Actually, God wanted know his will, Jacob's will himself. For example, maybe sometimes God can tell us, you go there. So then maybe we think that, to obey God, then I can go there. But if something wrong happening, then we can even complain God. Because you said to us, you should go there, I go there. But then something wrong is happening in those ununderstandable things are happening there. We can be still wondering, God, are you the one who sent us there? But then even we can start to complain. But then, that's how even Job was like that. Job was really worshiping God. But then Satan was saying to God that Job is really worshiping you because you really blessed him with great materials. But if he is taken away with all his blessings from you, then he would not really bless you. He would not really worship you. But then Job's faith was genuine. Even though all his blessings were taken away, but still Job was worshiping God. Job's faith was not changed. The same. Here, this is somewhat different. Even though God said you go, but if did not really have his own will to recover the broken relationship, then he cannot really go continually. He could not really overcome many other problems later, issues later. That's why God really wanted to give him the true victory. You did well. You are the one who fulfilled this one. God wanted to give him the true victory for the life of Jacob. The will, with his own will. Do you understand? So difficult to understand that. So that's how Jacob could really win. Jacob could really win with his faith, with his will. Faith and will and love. Those three are important for our life of faith. We need to live with faith and we need to live with our will. With our will, we need to worship God. We need to come to church. We need to follow God's guidance. With our will. Don't be crippled. We need to be healed from the crippled. We need to set up our strong will. And then we need to continue to follow God's guidance. And then love. We need to everything for the kingdom of God because of love. Responding to God's love. Because of the love for the people, we can also serve God. We can also serve many others. So that's how God tested Jacob. That's how maybe God wanted to ask Jacob, do you still want to go? Actually, Jacob, this was not the only way to go. Actually, he could go, he left his father, the Laban place, and then he could go to another place. Instead of going back to his brother's place. Instead of giving all his properties to him, even he can go to another place. He can live well there at another place. He does not just want the other way. Even there was also east side, west side. It does not just south or west, south or north, east, west, northern east, southern east, southeast. There was many other places he could go. But then Jacob was really trying to go back to his uncle, the brother's place, to reconcile, to be reconciled. This is right. To recover this broken relationship. So he won. He won this battle. He won this test from God. So then the next day was bright morning, the new morning to him. Chapter 32, verse 31 and chapter 32, verse 31 and 32. We are almost. The sun rose above him as he passed prayer, and he was limping because of his head. Therefore, to this day, the Israelites do not eat the tendon attached to the socket of the hip, because the socket of Jacob's hip was touched near the tendon. So here, anyway, the next morning, the sun rose above him as he passed prayer. And it was a new morning to Jacob. He really won over. It's like after Jesus' prayer back at them, even though it was very dark, it was very painful. He had to go through very painful moments. But then after Jesus prayed God at Gethsemane, and he really determined to die. But then this is somewhat different from that Iscariot Judas. After he took the bread from Jesus, then Jesus told the Iscariot Judas, you do what you are supposed to do. Then he went away. Then it was night. Bible is describing. It was night. But here, the next morning, the sun rose. And then, even though he was limping, he was crippled. But then, the sun rose. It was bright morning. The new morning for Jacob. And for Jacob's life. There was a new start. Chapter 33 from verse 1 to 5. No more. Chapter 33 from verse 1 to 5. It says that Jacob looked up and there was Esau coming with his 400 men, so he divided the children among them. It's still 400 men. So Jacob divided the children among Leah, Rachel, and 2 female servants. He put the female servants and their children in front. Yeah. The servants, the maid servants and Bilhah and Zilpah in the front, their children with their children. And then Leah and her children next. And then Rachel and Joseph in the rear. He really wanted the most love person. Rachel and Jacob. The last. He really wanted it. In the rear, verse 3. He himself went on ahead and bowed down to the ground 7 times. He bowed down 7 times as he approached his brother. Verse 4. But Esau ran to meet Jacob and embraced him. He threw his arms around his neck and kissed him. And they wept. Amazing. They were embracing each other. They were weeping, embracing, weeping. Then Esau looked up and saw the women and children. Who are these with you? He asked. Jacob answered, they are the children God has graciously given your servant. So here, reconciliation of Jacob and Esau. Jacob could reconcile with his brother. So this hatred started from Cain and Abel. It could start to be recovered from the generation of Esau and Jacob. That's how Jacob was a winner. Victor. Chapter 33 verse 10. Chapter 33 verse 10. No, please, said Jacob. If I have found favor in your eyes, accept this gift from me, for to see your face is like seeing the face of God. Now then, you have received me favorably. So now, Jacob is saying that as I see you, you are like God. Isn't this strange word? Actually, Esau was not the person of faith. But then, Esau couldn't find the face of God from the face of his brother Esau. Maybe we can also the face of God from the people's face in the world. The image of God. Many people are living with the face of God. But then, their image of God is covered with a simple life, dark life in the world. But then when we are recovered, as they are recovered, as we are recovered, reconciled together with them, then their image of God can be recovered. Chapter 35, we can go to chapter 35, verse 14 and 15. And then here, something happened. Something happened. And then, chapter 35, verse 14 and 15, it says that Jacob set up a stone pillar at the place where God had talked with him, and he poured out a drink offering on it. He also poured oil on it. Jacob called the place where God had talked with him Bethel. So now, Jacob went back to Bethel, and then he started to worship God again. As he met God 20 years ago. He came back to this place again, and he started to worship God as he swore. So Jacob does not forget God after victory. So Jacob came back to God. He returns to Bethel, where he first met God, where he swore before God. That's how he was the person of faith. He was not changing. He did not lose the faith. He came back to God. He worshipped God. He started to worship God again at the same place as he was 20 years ago. So that's how Jacob was. He did not lose God. He came back to God to worship. So through this Jacob story, then we can think about many things. Jacob, he was really, his life was full of suffering, tribulation. But then he won over everything with faith and humbleness and with love toward his brother. So then through this Jacob's life, the great history of salvation, the great history of reconciliation could be fulfilled. And through this Jacob, one person's life. So I hope we can also learn something important through this Jacob's life. So Jacob was a victor. He was not the victor with the swords, but then he was the victor through love. He was the victor through love. So this victory can be eternal. But then the victory with the violence, it cannot be eternal. It can be crushed away anytime. But then as we live victorious life with love, true love, genuineness in God, then we can be living as a true victor, true winner for our life. And then our life can be a great blessing. Our life can bring a great blessing to many people in this world. So as we meditate this story of Jacob, and we also want to learn the important things for our life of faith. So that our life can be also bring the great blessings to many people in this world. So we want to end here. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for allowing us this time to meditate your word. As Jacob was living with the faith, as Jacob was trying to live diligently and genuine life before God with faith, even though he was suffering a lot, he didn't lose the faith. And then, even though he was suffering, but he wanted to go back to his brother. He wanted to recover this broken relationship, serving his brother. So then, through this one person's life, the great history of reconciliation could be realized in this world. So as we look at this life of Jacob, we also want to learn something important for our life of faith, so that we can be also living as a great blessing for this world. So please be with us, guide each one of us continually, so that the story of these, our ancestors of faith, can be also our story. So thank you for all your grace during this time, and I pray all this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. And thank you very much. God bless you.